recent years, the devastating effects of climate change on nations and their economies due to man's own negligence have attracted greater attention across the world. In Ghana, the agriculture sector is the main driving force of growth and contributes about 35% of GDP and some 75% of export earnings. However, agricultural productivity continues to diminish because of declining climate conditions, among other factors.
A lot of publications have indicated that there's a drying trend within the whole country. But looking more closely to the northern sector, there are so many indications that climate change has really made this impact already, at least in the last decade. If the projections of climate change as we have it around this area, being 86% of the water being evaporated back into our atmosphere as evapotranspiration is true, then we don't have a dam in the next 10 to 15 years, which means all these families that depend on this water source would have to find another point where they have to collect the same water. And that means a lot of these families will have to travel very long distances to get the same water for their domestic use.
Climate change has increased water stress and desertification, thus leading to increased food insecurity, especially in the northern sector of the country. Due to the semi-arid climate of the area, and with some 80% of the population heavily dependent on rain-fed subsistence agriculture, the impact of climate change on agricultural production presents a significant threat to rural livelihoods. And without appropriate responses, climate change is likely to constrain economic development and poverty reduction efforts.
For
the past 4 years, this is the situation we face. Our dam goes dry and our animals die due to scarcity of water. We walk very far for water.
The Association of Church-Based Non-Governmental Organizations, ACTED, with headquarters in Tamale, received funding from CHF and Ludin for Africa Foundation, both international NGOs, to start a project termed Sustainable Poverty Reduction in Northern Ghana, or SPRING, in selected poverty-endemic rural districts. The project is designed to effect long-term sustainable poverty reduction and achieve environmental and climate change adaptation in Yendi, Saboba and Chirpone districts of the northern region. The project beneficiary communities, most of whom farmers, are made to be aware of the effects of climate change in relation to their lives and livelihoods. They are supported to adapt to the situation through the provision of alternative source of livelihoods, among other things, so as to be able to fend for their families, especially in dry season when drought sets in and their predicaments worsen. The main trade of a lot of these community members is selling woodlots for charcoal burning and for other commercial and domestic activities. In this regard, the SPRING project provides them with seedlings to plant around their communities so as to desist from degrading the environment and better their lives.
This project has benefited us a lot, especially this garden. We harvest some vegetables which we sell in order to supplement our household incomes. We also eat some.
The idea of this small ruminant is to help farmers to improve their incomes in order to be able to address their needs like education, food security, and others. Also, when you look at this, it's also to improve their yields.
Before the intervention of the project, we used to harvest honey from the wild, and sometimes the fire we used would get out of hand. With the inception of the project, we have been given beehives, smokers, and paraphernalia to use to harvest the honey, so the incidence of burning and the quality of honey have improved. As a result, we have sold some honey, and we've been able to buy more hives in our community. Also, because we need more trees in order to be able to raise the bees, we have asked the project to assist us in getting some more trees around so that we can have more hives. The additional benefit we get from keeping the bees is that we are able to generate enough income to buy fertilizer for farming. Last year I bought seeds with the proceeds, which I used to grow soybeans.
The environment now is completely depleted of firewood. Farmers or the ladies have to travel far to look for firewood. Therefore, this methodology or this particular heat or stove has been introduced for them to save the little wood that they have around, not to destroy, a lot of trees. The little that they harvest can be used efficiently back at home.
Formerly, I was using a lot of fuel wood for cooking, but since I got this stove, I use less. It is very efficient too.
The spring project is coming to a closure, and therefore the need to assess levels of understanding of the beneficiary communities of issues relating to climate change and their present adaptation mechanisms. In view of this, ACTEP has contracted Kamas Consult, a consultancy firm working in climate change and livelihoods, to collate views of the rural communities. After fruitful and insightful deliberations in all the 3 districts, each group presented their story to the larger participants for further discussion when necessary.
Given the situation that is on the ground, given the farmers' own effort now in trying to address the issue, now it is time for us to double our effort, put in more resources to be able to help them to address this menace. Otherwise, the future doesn't look too bright for those who are trying to reduce poverty, who are trying to improve the livelihoods of the rural communities in northern Ghana.
The government of Ghana may have developed strong climate change strategies and action plans at the national level. There is the need for practical knowledge and skills in integrating climate change adaptation activities into community-level rural development policies.
Say